Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to unpack the fascinating and honestly sometimes intensely fraught world of using artificial intelligence to navigate high-conflict co-parenting. If you have ever dealt with a difficult ex-partner, or maybe you even work in family law yourself, you know that communication is often the absolute biggest battleground. So we're diving into the data today to see exactly how technology is stepping right into the middle of that battlefield.
It's the ultimate hook, right? Can an algorithm actually fix your ex? Could an app literally force them to speak to you reasonably? Well, over the next few minutes, we're going to see that while the promise of deploying tech in these family disputes is incredibly alluring, the reality is, as you might guess, highly complex. The truth is that AI is absolutely reshaping dispute resolution, but maybe not in the quick fix way a frustrated parent might be hoping for.
Okay, Section 1, the co-parenting minefield. From perfect pals to fiery foes. Let's start by understanding the emotional spectrum of co-parenting and exactly why the stakes are so incredibly high.
At its very core, co-parenting is fundamentally about managing conflict. Researchers actually place families on a spectrum here. On one end, you've got cooperative partners. They're often called perfect pals, who share tasks and support each other really smoothly. But on the totally opposite end, you have chronically hostile, fiery foes. These are parents locked in persistent hostility, frequent arguments, and repeated legal battles. Sure, they communicate, but usually only to fight.
Now, why does this matter so much? Because this persistent hostility doesn't just exhaust the adults. It drastically increases the risk of anxiety and behavioral issues in children. The research clearly shows kids are harmed directly by witnessing the fights and indirectly because that immense stress completely degrades each adult's ability to actually parent well. And this is the exact pain point that tech developers are trying to solve right now.
Which brings us to Section 2, enter the AI co-parent and the digital promise of de-escalation.
To address this persistent conflict, a whole new generation of apps has emerged. They basically promise to act as an emotional spell checker for your text messages. But looking at the leading platforms out there, you'll immediately spot a pretty massive gap in pricing. Premium apps offer advanced AI tone scanning and automated rewrites, but that's going to run you up to $300 a year per parent. Meanwhile, free alternatives stick to basic scheduling and encrypted messaging without all those fancy AI interventions. So the technology is definitely out there, but access to the best features is heavily gated by cost.
Let's move to Section 3, what AI actually does, the mechanics of an algorithm. How does this actually work in the heat of a frustrating argument? Imagine a parent drafts a really hostile, blaming message. Natural language processing instantly scans that text for emotional triggers and inflammatory words. Then comes the magic trick. The AI intercepts the draft before it sends and suggests a calm, child-focused rewrite. It often uses proven communication frameworks like the BIF method, which stands for brief, informative, friendly, and firm. Finally, the parent approves that neutral rewrite, sending it off and securely logging it in the system. Crisis averted, right?
And it's not just about rewriting a single angry text. These platforms are building an entire ecosystem. They're using sentiment monitoring to track escalating emotions over time, literally prompting you to take a break if a conversation is spiraling out of control. They use AI to automate complex custody schedules. And perhaps most importantly for family law, they create immutable, time-stamped records. These logs help depersonalize the conflict and provide total objective evidence for court hearings, replacing those chaotic, deleted text threads with a clean, unalterable timeline.
But it's not all perfect. Section 4, the hidden risks of AI and the dangerous blind spots of technology. While the tech sounds like a utopian fix for modern divorce, what's genuinely alarming is what the algorithm fundamentally cannot see. 80%. Let that sink in for a second. According to research, in Australian post-separation cases, studies note that up to 80% involve family violence or coercive control. We aren't just talking about bickering over who buys the kid's shoes here. This is deeply rooted, systemic abuse.
And this creates a massive peril. An algorithm looking for polite tone treats both parties as equally responsible. It's really just scanning for bad words or exclamation points. Because of this, an abuser can actually use an AI tool to craft a perfectly polite, reasonable-sounding message that contains a terrifying coded threat of coercive control. The AI just gives it a green light, inadvertently masking serious domestic abuse behind a veneer of digital civility.
Plus, the hype is kind of outpacing the reality right now. We currently have absolutely no established, rigorous clinical trials validating AI as a standalone treatment for family conflict. We also face major concerns regarding data security. Family law data is incredibly sensitive.
There's also the reality that algorithms can easily replicate human gender and cultural biases found in their training data. Couple all of that with the high subscription costs and the need for strong digital literacy, and you have a tool that is far, far from a universal silver bullet.
Which leads us to our final and most important point, Section 5, why human mediation matters, the irreplaceable core of dispute resolution.
All this evidence builds a really powerful case for why artificial intelligence must serve strictly as a partner to human mediation and never a replacement. AI and human mediators just bring completely different tools to the table. AI is fantastic for administrative friction and communication hygiene, syncing calendars, logging data, softening a nasty tone. But it completely lacks emotional intelligence. A human mediator is the one who builds emotional trust, exercises ethical judgment, and crucially screens for that hidden abuse that an algorithm might just blindly approve.
As the DC Mediation and Dispute Resolution Institute brilliantly points out, if a tone-softening app is just being used to avoid the actual difficult conversation about the underlying conflict, it is time to bring in a neutral, human, third party. Technology might lower the temperature on Tuesday's soccer schedule, but it cannot resolve the deep-seated grievances that are actually driving the fight.
So the bottom line from all this research is crystal clear. AI is a supplement, for sure, but it is not a substitute. It's a game changer for daily communication hygiene. But when it comes to building workable, durable parenting plans, human mediators are absolutely required. Furthermore, human oversight isn't just a nice-to-have. It's legally and practically mandatory for safety screening where domestic violence might be present. The future of family dispute resolution isn't man versus machine. It's a hybrid system where AI handles all that logistical noise, empowering human mediators to stay at the center and empathetically resolve the real dispute.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. As we increasingly allow algorithms to edit our anger and moderate our daily disputes, how do we ensure they don't accidentally erase the human empathy we need to resolve our deepest conflicts? Tech can certainly clean up our texts, but true resolution and the ultimate well-being of the children caught in the middle will always require a deeply human touch. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I hope it gives you a powerful new perspective on the intersection of AI, family law, and the absolute necessity of human mediation.